we take away the guesswork for the new club owner. They may not have that set of skills in their past businesses or whatever. So we just take away all that guesswork.
Ken Reinig, what's up, buddy?
What a beautiful day, and happy holidays. And I asked my wonderful assistant, Brittany, to sit in on this podcast. So
hello.
Hey, Brittany.
Hi, Brittany. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Rick?
I'm doing well, thanks. Well, listen, Ken, a lot of people are going to wonder why in the hell I would have an insurance person on my podcast. So I think it's a fair question. You know, it's probably not the most popular topic, but it is uber important. But, you know, your background says a lot. I think it brings a lot of credibility, because certainly when you meet you in person, you might lose some of that credibility. You know, spend a little time with Ken, you might wonder, how is this guy going to insure my business? But I want people listening to know you're an amazing guy. You might be the only insurance guy that I know that I can also say / the most interesting man in the world, right? I mean, you're a sailor. You've got some crazy stories about your motorcycle riding days. But you've also been very successful in the insurance business. So in whatever way, in as many words or as few words as you'd like, give us a little bit of your background.
I have been in the insurance business for 30 years, and I learned long ago that it's better to specialize in just one field and try to be the best that you can in that one field, rather than try to write insurance for every auto or homeowners or shoe store or marijuana factory or whatever.
Yeah, but, great point.
Most people would also say that I just insure one industry because I'm lazy. So I don't know which one it is. But
well, look, either way, I mean, look, you and I, same story. Right? Been doing the same thing, really good at personal training. That's all I've done for 32 years. And I think if you do and screw something up long enough, you get pretty good at it.
True that. So it's a lot of fun just concentrating on this one industry. And as far as I know, we're the only brokerage in the country that actually combines risk management protocols and education with providing good insurance products to protect your business owners. So it's a great combination. It's worked well over. Heck, we've had this now going for 5 years, to where we're actually going above and beyond in helping the education process, as you know, when we've been working with your team in the past as well. So that's our gig. That's what we do.
Yeah. Well, again, you know, I can only speak on Ken's behalf. If you ever have a chance to hang out with Ken after hours, it's an amazing experience. He's a crazy guy, fun. He's in a band. He's the lead singer in a band out in Denver. And again, just a really interesting guy. I jokingly always say that because I think, Ken, you've come to a couple of our confirmation days, which is sort of people flying from all over the country to look at the Alloy opportunity and meet our team. And I've had you out a few times and everybody leaves and they say, who the hell was that guy? Like, that was awesome. You know, and our team is like, can he be at every single confirmation day? I was like, oh, we can check. But, you know, it's like, that normally is not what you get from your insurance agency, you know, but I think it makes you a super compelling guy, because at the end of the day, like, certain things have to be done business wise, and risk mitigation, right? Risk management is a big part of that. So all that aside, like, hey, from you, Ken, we'll start with you. Like, why is risk management really important, other than obviously, like, you know, look, somebody trips in my gym, they're angry, there's gonna be some litigation around that. But outside of that, like, what is risk management for the fitness industry under an umbrella? How would you describe it, and why is it important?
It's just preventative education is basically the concept of teaching young staff members. And unfortunately, in our industry, we're going to have a lot of turnover. So it's best to have a system in place rather than having people who may have great just risk management innate skills to begin with. But it's best to have a written protocol. And with our new system, it actually provides an educational piece that holds all of the employees accountable. They actually take a test online, everything from how to fill out an incident report to how to deal with sexual harassment in your gym, how to deal with kids. I hate kids. Oh, I didn't mean to say, did I?
Listen, folks, he's strictly speaking from the risk management lens, but I laugh at that because, I mean, that's the kind of questions we get, Ken, and we always defer to like, hey, again, meet with your risk management specialist, and we hope it's Ken because, like, if you want to have kids sit in the front area of your gym while your clients work out, and they're like, hey, little Johnny's good, he's not going to run out here. Well, if he does, right, and something happens, you may not be covered for that. So those are things that you guys will manage. Like you said, you've got testing mechanisms. So everyone on your team, as you said, turnover's high. So what's the easiest way to get my staff, my team educated on risk management inside of these four walls, right? Is that fair?
That is fair. We take away the guesswork for the new club owner. They may not have that set of skills in their past businesses or whatever. So we just take away all that guesswork. And then Brittany works with them. Even the best time to start is right before they sign a lease, so that we can let your franchisee know that hey, this may be able to be negotiated a little differently in the lease that could cost or save thousands of dollars in insurance premiums. So it's really kind of important to have us take a look at it early on. And Brittany, want to chime in on that and then kind of talk about the whole process?
Yeah, I mean, that basically was my next question. So perfect transition. So Brittany, I'll kick it to you. Like Ken said, when would someone want to engage with you guys in the process? I know we know the answer, but I want to hear it from you directly.
It's kind of a two-step process. Even there's a good time to reach out would be initially right before you sign that lease, like Ken said, and I'll take a look at the lease, read the insurance requirements, make sure that the landlords are not asking for anything extraordinary. Sometimes these landlords will put requirements in there that are going to cost your franchisees thousands of dollars that is really not going to do them any favors. It's not a coverage that's going to protect them any more than what we normally write. So that's the best time. And we'll look at the lease. We'll send over any recommendations that we have. We have a letter that Ken wrote that has been really successful in negotiating those lease requirements. So that's the best time to reach out, is right before you sign a lease. And then once the lease is signed, the next time to reach out would be about 30 days, within 30 days of when you're going to take possession of the space. So before that, there's not a lot that we can do because insurance quotes are only good for 30 days. So I can't quote anything too far out. But so it's kind of a two-step process. Right before you sign the lease to make sure that they're not asking for anything crazy. And then again, within 30 days of when you take possession of the space. And the way that we write insurance for these Alloy franchises is also kind of a tiered or stepped process. We'll write a general liability policy to meet landlord requirements in the beginning. And that just kind of satisfies the landlord. Doesn't offer all the coverage that you need for a full completed club because that's not what we have when we're writing the insurance at the beginning. From that point, right before construction starts, we'll write a builder's risk policy to cover them through the construction phase. And that'll cover all the tenant improvements that are being done within the space. It's oftentimes a requirement of SBA law as well. So we're kind of checking these requirements off of all these vendors or people that you're working with. And then the final step is right before you're ready to open. Contact me again and we'll convert that general liability policy over to a completed club. It sounds really complicated, but I promise you, if you have franchisees that reach out to me right before they sign the lease, I will take them from there and I will follow up. I do a pretty methodical step-by-step process with them. So I'll walk them through it. It may sound really overwhelming and a lot for people, but it's really not. It's not complicated, and I'll make it as easy as possible.
Yeah, and I think that's key. Like, one of the reasons I want to have you guys on, other than Ken being so much fun to talk to, and his beautiful face, of course, you can't resist that. Is that, look, I think I was surprised to learn, even when we started in the business a million years ago, look, why would you need an insurance company for your lease? But it's really important. So like, I just want people to hear that we have the resource that, again, somebody might hear this that's looking at an alloy early in the process, like, oh no, there's all these things. And there is. It's like when you're opening a small business, if you haven't done it before, you're drinking through a fire hose, right? And so what I want people to hear is like, here's this amazing resource. Sure, you can go and try to get insurance with your weird brother-in-law or your uncle or something. But it's like, look, if they don't know the fitness business, I guarantee you they might not know engagement before the lease, again, before the construction starts to cover you during those tenant improvements. And then obviously, I think everyone knows long-term I need liability insurance, but often it's an afterthought. So what I want people to hear is like, no, there's steps along the way that are relatively early in the process where folks need to engage with you guys, right? So they're protected every step of the way. We have triggers for that, and we're prompting them to go. You guys then take them and you have your triggers, and we work alongside you guys and the rest of our vendors to get all these processes done. But I know, at least for me, coming from brick and mortar ownership, and then moving into franchising eventually after a million years, a lot of that was surprising. And I think for a lot of people listening, that will be surprising as well. But I love it, Brittany, because you basically said, hey, exactly what people need to hear, right? Which is, look, engage with us. Once you do, we're going to walk through the process, and you're very methodical about those triggers. And again, it's just bandwidth. If I'm a small business owner, I don't know anything, and if I'm new to it, and I certainly don't know about risk management. So to have someone in my hip pocket that's a partner, if you will, walking me through the process. They've got education for new employees. They've got a testing mechanism that you built that out, right, guys? You built that whole process, right, Ken? Yeah, I remember when you launched that a few years ago. It's amazing. So, I mean, all of these tools are at your disposal if you engage with these guys. I don't know about other insurance carriers because I've only worked with Ken, and I understand that you and your team, Ken, are the best in the business. So this is who I'm going to work with. And just know that we as Alloy have this resource. If you're listening to this podcast, I know a lot of people do, that aren't with Alloy, if you're just in the industry and you don't know about insurance, same thing. Just reach directly out to Ken, and I'll post all the links and stuff to their information afterwards. Is there anything else? Is there anything surprising that you've seen as of late? And this will be maybe to you, Ken, like in the industry. Is there anything that's changed? I know obviously we had a pandemic. I mean, that had to be a whole different ballgame, for you guys. But is there anything coming out of that you've seen that's been a bit different in the industry?
We've seen dramatic rate increases in both property insurance and liability. Insurance carriers, for the most part, have not made any money in the last few years due to massive wildfires, global events, weather-related, strings of tornadoes going through Texas, Oklahoma, to hurricanes in Florida, to blah, blah, blah. Anyway, it's very expensive now in today's environment. So it's good to get with us early because we can give them indications of where their premiums are going to be once we have all the data, and Brittany can get it quoted out. Because that's an integral part of their overall budget. Just liability, property costs have gone up just because building costs have gone up. So, I mean, property insurance costs have gone up. So, anyway.
Yeah, we've seen the same, just supply chain and we have what's called an item 7, which is the claims on the cost to open, to get open in an Alloy location. And, obviously different markets affect that. So, the first few clubs we had were mainly in areas that were a little bit less expensive. Now we're opening in New York, New Jersey, Orange County, California. It's like those are going to drive the cost up a little bit. And you guys are factored into that. So we use some of the estimates that you guys give us to be able to predict, the insurance cost. But a lot of those costs have gone up, across the board for everything from like labor and the build out to the materials to all of that stuff. So it would make sense that along with that, insurance rates have gone up. Now, like percentage wise, have they I still think it's relatively inexpensive. I'm always surprised at how inexpensive liability insurance is for a facility that we are physically, working with people. I always felt like it was an amazing value. Percentage wise, how much has it gone up? Obviously, I'm not asking you to name numbers, but is it twice as much as it used to be? I mean, what are you seeing?
I think we've seen probably an average of 12 to 15% increases over the last 2 years, and that's going to continue through 2024. So even if the ones on the podcast who are already insured with us, we're upfront with you, let you know, hey, it's going to go up 10, 12, 14%. And again, yeah, there's some area of the country issues that make it go higher or lower, but we have a pretty good handle on it. It's just that it's not great news. So,
right. I don't know if you remember, Ken, you and I were on a podcast, on a different business podcast, and I think we were there, highlighting you, and they were having me on to be like, hey, what do you think about Ken? I'm like, God, the guy's an asshole, but like, he does really good insurance, right? And we had a really good time with it. But I loved your answer, because someone's like, hey, what's the current state of the insurance industry? And you're like, in a word, it sucks, maybe 2 words, but I just started laughing. But like, that's one thing I appreciate about you guys, is like, you're not some slick salesperson who's selling you something you don't need or more than you need on a golf course somewhere. You're going to shoot straight, and you always have. Like, this is the state of the industry. This is what it's going to cost. We're going to shop it. Here's what we're finding on average. Your area, here's what you're looking at, right? And you're going to shoot straight. And I think that obviously, like, it's an area that a lot of people don't know a lot about. Everybody knows they need it, but they don't know anything about it. It's like, but if you've got someone who has your experience, you guys' experience, and you're trustworthy and you shoot straight, it certainly does a lot to assuage some of the discomfort around, like, is this a good rate? Should I shop this with my local insurance guy in my shopping center? It's like, no, work with someone to Brittany's point earlier, that understands the process in building out a brick and mortar fitness facility, and where along that process are you going to need the insurance. You're not going to get that from the guy down the road who does all types of insurance, right?
Pretty much. Thanks for the plug and the vote of confidence and your friendship over the years. Sometimes I don't like you either. I don't know what it is, but I think it's when I end up buying all the cocktails. I don't remember now, but
yeah, I think, jealousy is an ugly thing, Ken, and it's a human emotion that we can't avoid. So I understand why you have it. I don't like to see it in you, but I understand it. So we'll just go with that. Look,
right, let's go.
I don't know what else there is to say. Like, I just wanted to introduce you guys, and I did you a disservice by not allowing you to tell us a dad joke at the start. So there's no way that Ken Reinig doesn't have a dad joke on deck. So what you got for me, my friend?
Oh, well, the farmer goes to a bee farm to purchase some bees to help out his crops. And the sign said a dozen bees for $50. And it's a little high, but he took the $50, gave him a dozen high quality bees, and added another bee. He said, well, I don't need 13 bees. And the guy said, oh, that you don't understand. That's a freebie. Free bee.
Yes. I think that's fantastic. Oh my gosh, poor Brittany's like, oh, I feel like I'm in his office right now. This is all day, every day. This is my team too, All right, you ready for mine? It's really bad. So, how do you get a country girl's attention? Anyone? No.
No.
A tractor.
No.
Get it? Yes. It's so bad. I love these. And everyone on the team's like, oh, how old are you? I'm like, old enough. I'm old enough for dad jokes all the way. So thanks for coming on, Brittany. Really appreciate all you do for the Alloy franchisees. Again, if you guys aren't with Alloy, go to theinsuranceguy.com, and you guys are the best in the business. You only do insurance for fitness. If you're a potential and or current Alloy franchisee somewhere in the process, like, look, you need liability insurance. Why not work with the best in the business that only does fitness, and they know every aspect of it in and out? Ken's joke earlier about hating kids is only because he's seen and can tell you, credit to you, Ken. Like, I always ask for terrible stories, but like, you're not a fear mongering guy. So you don't do that typically, but there's a lot of things out there, and you've seen 30 years worth of evidence about, hey, that's not a good idea, and here's why. We don't cover that, and here's why. So I think that knowledge is only from someone who's specific to fitness, who's been doing it for 30 years. So look, hire who you want, but if you're thinking about hiring your weird uncle, I would advise against that. Go with the insurance guy and his amazing team. We appreciate you guys. Any parting words for the audience?
Oh, just happy holidays. And yeah, theinsuranceguy.com. You can reach out to me directly, Ken at theinsuranceguy.com, or Brittany at theinsuranceguy.com, and we'll get back to you and send you a free dad joke.
Yeah. Oh man, that's worth its weight right there in gold. So appreciate you guys. Thanks for coming on. And
Okay.
I will see both of you soon, I hope.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
See you soon. Take care.
Happy holidays, guys. Cheers.